Hello, how are you all doing today on this fine day, this fine morning for me? Another nice 5 a.m. start. Hey, Jeff, great to see you as always. Always first in line. Great to see you. Question: are the first two loop deck videos to be updated? No, I did actually re-record them. So yeah, I made my. Oh, hey Dale, great to see you as well. I made my beginner's guide to loop deck, and then I had literally just started uploading them and making my thumbnails and that, and then I got the email from Loopdeck to say that there was a new version of the software out, which basically rendered my videos out of date before they'd actually been made live. So I thought, oh well, back to the drawing board. So I think they've ended up probably being a little bit better, having done them once or twice already. So yeah, I mentioned in the video that I did about the loop deck. This has been the hardest series of videos for me to do, because generally stuff that I'm making videos about is stuff that I know and use, and I find it relatively easy to sort of explain, how to use these sort of tools. Loop deck, I just still find as a really sort of confusing device. And in terms of the user interface, I mean, it's not once you understand it, but I mean, I still think that the user interface itself is pretty confusing, really. So but anyway, so to answer your question, Jeff, no, those videos are the sort of latest versions, the redone ones, and then I'll have another 3 videos in the series going out a little bit later today as well. So there we go. That's that. Hey Marcus, great to see you here. The title, yes. I'll be talking a little bit about my failure today because it is the end of CEDA, Create Every Day in April, the wonderful initiative by Ecamm Live to basically combine. We've got Leader live every day in April, Vader video every day in April, and so they just decided, well, why not just create every day, because there's lots of ways that we can create content as well, not just with video and live. But obviously the video route is the route that I was going, and at the beginning of April, in order to really put myself out there and give myself some accountability, I made this nice little chart, which is basically my videos for the whoops, wrong one. Sorry about that. For my my videos for the month. This is what I had intended to do. So this was basically 4 videos every day. And it would be a live stream and then 3 regular videos. And then I'd also rather ambitiously planned to also record a load of other content down here that was going to go out in May. So that I would basically have all of my videos done to get my 365 videos in a year. I posted that everywhere just so that everyone could clearly see it, and then that would give me some accountability, as I say. The reality turned out to be rather different. Let me show you what I ended up actually doing, which is this one over here. So I got off to a good start. Over here, I was doing my more or less 4 a day. I did miss a couple of them out. And then we hit Thai New Year, which, to be honest with you, I'd completely sort of forgotten about when I was actually planning these things out. I obviously knew that there's Songkran over here is like a big 3-4 day event. So that was pretty much a write-off. That was just all not making videos, but being with family. That is an excuse, by the way. I mean, what I should have done is just made some extra videos up here so that I covered off this area down here where it was the Thai New Year celebration. So purely an excuse, but that is what happened. And then I've had a little bit of firefighting to do in terms of not actual firefighting. I did have a bushfire about 2 months ago, but not that kind. But just in business, some of the other things that I'm having to do, like as in my whole day job sort of type of thing. The videos being generally a more of a sort of side helpful, not a side hustle. Doc likes to say a side helpful. And so yeah, the past couple of weeks, unfortunately, from that point of view, have been a bit of a write-off. So yeah, not quite what I'd intended. Hey Aubrey, great to see you. Always nice to see your face there. And well, thank you very much. It's not as much as planned, but it is still a lot. So I had planned to do, basically, was it 130 something? 143 videos was what I'd planned to make. I did end up making 70. So I mean, I'm not beating myself up over this. It is one of those things that's I do appreciate. This is just a silly little goal that I'd set myself. But yeah, the point of I always have this thing of being a recovering perfectionist, and so much so I've got it on my top. But the thing about that is I still think it's good to sort of strive for perfection. In this case, it's far from perfection, but I was striving for a large goal. And the thing about that is, as you say, if you don't hit the goal, you still do get somewhere. A lot further along. And the thing about having these goals is, and the reason why I do keep sort of making these things public, is because it does give me some motivation and some incentive. And so on days when maybe I don't have the motivation to do it, then I am still driven by this. I mean, it's not been a case of lack of motivation the last couple of weeks. It's more just been, as I say, some other issues and things like that I've had to deal with. But definitely having these goals. And I mean, it's like now I've still got my 365 videos in a year goal to aim for as well. To be honest with you, that's looking quite a tall order now, because if we just have a little look at where I'm up to with that. So my 1 year anniversary on YouTube is basically in 2 weeks. And this is where we're standing on week 50. 289 videos. So if I've got to hit 365, it's quite a lot of videos that I've got to make in 2 weeks. And I'm just not sure that I'm going to be able to do that, to be honest. So I'm not resigned to not hitting that target. I'm still going to try and get as much done as possible. But there again, it's a case of, if you do set yourself large goals, then even if you fail to totally achieve them, you're still getting yourself a lot further along. But sorry, what I just missed a comment from Jeff there. I had about 10 interruptions to try to assimilate with today's presentation. I see. Interruptions in terms of watching this one as well. I see. I think I've got you there. So that's where we're up to with the that's where we're up to with the in terms of the videos and stuff like that. We'll see how it goes between now and the next couple of weeks. Well, thank you very much, Jeff. I appreciate that. Obviously, I do try. My videos have all got to be in line with the... I could have easily just rattled out, 60 videos that are all 5 minutes. maybe I should break down like one topic into 2-minute segments and string them all together. Oh dear. No, I know there is. I do try and be helpful where I can. So that is where we're up to with all that stuff. There was one other thing though that I did when I was as part of CEDA. There was a couple of things I was going to do. I was going to be more active on Twitter. Fail. I didn't really do that apart from tweeting out my live streams. I was also going to make a load more shorts as well, and I didn't get round to doing those as well. Although they weren't in the main sort of master plan that I made public, I did actually have in my head. Although I think I mentioned it on another stream though. I did have in my head that I was also going to make these shorts. So I'll get around to that as well. Never mind. It is all still a work in progress. What I have learned from this though is, first of all, obviously the idea of having content queued up and ready to go, so that you've always got like a bit of a buffer. And case in point would have been like over the Thai New Year, over Songkran, 13th to 15th. Had I just had a little bit more forward planning and had those videos done up front, then it wouldn't have really mattered. So in terms of, the content would still be going out. I'm definitely thinking that going forward, I am going to be just going totally with the batch producing content, as opposed to what I had been doing up until this point really, which is my whole sort of early morning schedule was always my YouTube time. So I'd get up in the morning, 3 o'clock, have my morning coffee, do my morning meditation and journaling, stuff like that. And then 4 till 6 or 4 till 7 was when I would make a video and do all of the sort of management of the channel and stuff like that. I'm definitely going to go more towards just spending like a day making the week's worth of content. I've realized through doing this that that's definitely going to be a much more efficient way. I mean, it's pretty obvious really, isn't it? That's what mass production comes from, isn't it? It's rather than doing things one by one, doing them in bulk to a certain extent. So I will definitely be looking to do that going forward. I'd like to get at least sort of 2 or 3 weeks ahead, so that I know that I've got stuff scheduled out. That also means that if I've got stuff scheduled out to go like that, then any sort of ad hoc videos and stuff like that, such as, a new software release or something like that comes out, then I can always just make those ones on an ad hoc basis. Or if people ask questions, lots of my videos, I don't know, 30%, 25% or something like that have come as a direct result of somebody asking a specific question and me just making a video to try and explain it. So yeah, that is what one thing that I've taken away from this is that certainly doing it this way, sort of in batches and creating the videos rather than one by one, doing them in batches makes a lot of sense. And so this is a great question. You're making really great content. Thank you very much. And I do not understand why you still have under 2,000 subs. Any thoughts? Well, really, it's just a case of I'm on a slow grind here, building things up, and started from the same place as everyone else. Started from zero and making these videos, and my subscriber. Let's have a little look, shall we, at what my growth rate has been, because it is a very good question. It's not something that I've thought about too much in terms of, oh, why aren't more people subscribed? Because I do get, it's a process, isn't it? And let's have a little look at my stats. So here we are in my my channel analytics, and where do we want to go? We want to actually go to, not content, wrong one. I want to go to this one here. Let's have a little look at the lifetime of the channel. So this is the last 28 days. If I go to lifetime, whoops, not 7 days, don't want that one. There we go. So this is a little bit erratic in terms of the chart. Is that big enough, by the way? Let me see if I can make that a bit bigger. This is potentially a little bit erratic, this chart. However, I can explain. I mean, I know the reason why there have been these periods of spikes and stuff like that, because there were certain things that happened at those exact points. So this is views. This is subscribers. My subscribers have been pretty consistent in terms of like how much they're increasing by. So in the sort of initial stages, it was always about sort of 2 or 3 or 4 a day, something like that. You can see as I scrub along, these are the numbers. So in the sort of first period up until here, which was September, that was the first, I suppose it was slightly more than 100 days, but that was, if I look on this one, yeah, up until this mid-September, I was being consistent. And by consistent, I mean I was posting generally a video a day, but certainly an average of a video a day. So I was either posting, occasionally I'd post 2 in a day and maybe miss a day out or something like that. But I was pretty consistent. And I had a consistent number of views, just sort of slowly going up, as obviously you get more videos on the channel, then there's people watching the replays and the older content, I suppose. So I had a consistent sort of slow growth up this way. So from there, if I look at the subscribers, then you can see that this was, as I say, fairly consistent up until that point as well. That mid-September is where, to my mind, I felt like I stopped being consistent. And I was still posting and I was still creating lots of videos for the channel, but I wasn't doing it in a consistent way. I had a load of stuff at the end of, again, with work getting in the way, this being a side project. I had a load of stuff with work getting in the way towards the end of last year. And so if I look for here, these views, so I was not consistent up until this point. I had this spike in views here. That was when I repurposed a load of TikTok videos that I'd done when I tried to do TikTok and stopped. I'm trying to pick that one up again as well now. And I basically posted a load of them to the YouTube channel, like 3 a day or something like that. So I did get a load of views then because I was posting lots of TikTok videos. The watch time did spike a little bit, but it was... it was those TikTok videos that were driving the views, and I did get a spike in subscribers around that time, just because there was so much more stuff going out. But all this one here, where you can see the subscribers going up and down, there seems to be like a direct correlation really between if I'm posting more content, then I do get more subscribers. So it's you would think that shouldn't make necessarily too much difference to the actual number of subscribers, because just because you've posted more on that given day, you wouldn't necessarily think that that would get seen more because you've still got all of your old content. But it does seem to be that if I post more videos in a given day, then I do get a spike up in subscribers then as well. It also depends on where I've posted them as well, because often some of my videos I'm just posting generally, but I will find that if I post stuff in like for example, if I post something in the Ecamm group, then sometimes I tend to get, people who maybe use Ecamm and didn't realize that I was making videos about it, then I'll get a spike up then. The views though here, so that those TikTok videos sort of represented a point where I got a ramp up in views, and then it sort of stayed, like you can see here, sort of elevated from where it was before then. So actually in here, I was down to posting even less than I was at this point. But because I'd had this sort of spike up, it was as if my videos got served more or something like that. It's not directly correlated to the number of subscribers, the views, if you get what I'm saying. Let me have a little look here if I see my subscribers. And these, by the way, this is obviously number of subscribers per day as opposed to cumulative. Yeah, so there was this kind of like ramp up, if you like, in terms of the sort of base level of views that I was getting. Then that stayed about the same, even though I was still making more content, but not so consistently in terms of the time frames and so on. And then around here, beginning of January, so that was the point where I got monetized. I noticed that when I got monetized, there was a sort of increase in the number of people that, I don't know whether it was, I'm just purely speculating here, I don't know whether it was reaching that threshold, they being Google started, or YouTube started serving the videos more or not. I don't really know if that is the case, but I did notice a bit of a spike up. But I also was a little bit more consistent at the beginning of January, and so there again we've got the watch time increasing because I'm making more videos, and the number of views spiking then as well. So that's by sort of mid-January, towards the end of January rather, there was a bit of a spike up there. Then I had a bit of a lull again. Then I posted some more videos, another bit of a lull, and then there we were at the beginning of April. So there was another spike at the beginning of April, because as we've seen, what I was doing at the beginning of April was this, basically posting 4 videos a day, and then also there were, I think, about 6 shorts or something like that. So actually it worked out as more than 4 a day on the channel. What I did notice though was, in terms of subscribers, whilst it had sort of picked up to a certain extent through January and February, April was not a good month for subscribers. It actually went down in terms of the number of sort of average number of daily people subscribing, presumably because what they were actually seeing was all of my CEDA live streams. The other thing that I did that was probably a mistake, to be honest, is if I come into my content, and I think I will go back and edit all of these thumbnails, but if I look at my thumbnails for my sort of daily live streams that I was doing for CEDA, you'll notice that they're all just the same, exactly the same, my same silly face on them. Only thing that's changing is the date. Whereas in actual fact, there was content in those live streams that was, related to specific things. So from a point of view, and I didn't really do anything on the SEO on these. A lot of these I just scheduled up front. And to be honest, I scheduled a lot of these up front, not really knowing exactly what I was going to cover in them. So you can imagine, and you can tell me as a in the chat, but just seeing the same sort of thumbnail, it's not gonna grab you, because the whole point of the thumbnail is to know like what people are talking about. So if this is just me, this thumbnail doesn't really tell people anything about the actual content of the live streams. So all of these probably is just would just be getting annoying to people to see them all. So what I do need to do is go back through and actually just update these, update the SEO as well to cover whatever it was that I was covering in that particular live stream. Some of them were really not really something that you'd necessarily go and watch back. People won't be searching to find it because it was just an update on progress. But other ones I was covering something that was of of value in there that I should definitely work on the SEO for. So I actually decided to change that with my last sort of main daily live stream, which was this one, where I made a genuine sort of thumbnail for it. The other thing that I've thought about, by the way, just as we're on this subject, with my any live stream thumbnail that I always used to do, I always used to have on it, it used to say live stream on it. So where is it? Let me just take one of these other ones. Any one of these ones. So like this one, for example, the thumbnail, in fact, I don't know if we're going to be able to see this because the thumbnail's still always pretty small. There you go. My thumbnails for live streams always say live stream on them. I did that to sort of differentiate them from the main content, and my the fact is though, it does actually say on the video. So when people are looking at it, it does actually say, you know, this was streamed however many days, hours, months ago, or whatever, as opposed to the recording date. So people know that it's a live stream because of that. But then on the other hand, I do think sometimes people are put off by watching a replay of a live stream as opposed to a replay of a video, because the thought is, and I'm speaking from personal experience here, the thought is that if somebody's made a video, it is a very focused, targeted thing that they've made, whereas live streams can often, depending on the creator, can be either really focused or they might just be, you know, a long rambling chat. And I'm talking about me there. From certainly my earlier live streams always were like that, and I mean this one's a bit like that, isn't it? But I am trying to be a bit more focused with my live streams and make them so that they do just sort of stand alone as content, and then you know, get onto Q&A and chat and stuff like that towards the end, obviously modeling this on the way that Doc's taking his things forward as well. So I do want to get away from just making it blatantly that this is a live stream, as opposed to this is content, you know, not content, but like a focused topic, should we say. So that's something that I want to do a little bit more going forward. But yeah, just coming back to the analytics and to answer your question. Hey, Paul. Sorry, great to see you. Well, thank you, Paul. Yes, I know it's all relative, really, at the end of the day. And like I mentioned earlier, I'm not beating myself up over it either. So let's have a little look, though. So where am I now? I've just lost my place, I think. Have I changed the... Oh, that's the last 28 days. That's why. I wondered why that was looking different. Let me just change that back to lifetime. So the point was that I was saying was, with the subscribers, what I've noticed is, there was days in April where it was actually negative. Now, I think that this one was probably one of these purges that you get from YouTube. Occasionally they will just, you know, clear out dummy accounts, spam accounts, or things like that. So I'm guessing that day where I had a net -9 might have been the result of that, because that was actually before CEDA. But these days here where I had like a net -2, net minus, or a net, what's that? Can't you see? -4. Were probably days where people were just, you know, in the timeline, seeing my stuff come up, and we're just like, you know what, I'm getting sick of seeing this thing about CEDA when it's not relevant. Because there's obviously people who have watched my channel because they're, you know, interested in either the Stream Deck or the analytics stuff, and so seeing these other things related to CEDAs could well have been the thing that triggered people to say, do you know what, I'm going to actually take the effort that is required to go and unsubscribe from this channel. Because there is effort required, isn't there? You know, if you're scrolling and you see something, you just scroll past it. But if you see something enough that gets annoying, you're going to say, do you know what, I'm going to actually physically take the time to press on the channel and go and unsubscribe. So I'm guessing that is what happened there, and fair play. I don't blame them with all of my CEDA videos that I was doing, or live streams. So to come back to your question, you don't understand why I've got less than 2,000. I just see it as a time thing. I mean, I've been going for less than a year, and I will keep. I've been, obviously, for my general weekly live streams, I do always tend to give a bit of an update on the progress with the channel and stuff like that. But I will still do that going forward, not necessarily on a weekly basis, but we'll just see how these numbers change. There was like a point where, with the subscribers, as I say, when I was posting more consistently before CEDA, where it was sort of increasing the pace, that it was the rate of increase, I should say, was also increasing. So yeah, we'll just see how it goes. I'm certainly not disappointed with the sort of progress that I've made in a year. I did actually have an idea when I started the channel that it would be nice to get to 1,000 before the end of the year, but I didn't set that as a goal because I'm not really in control of who subscribes or unsubscribes. So, so I was actually quite pleasantly surprised and pleased to actually hit the 1,000 mark. It was like 9 p.m. on the 31st of December. So there we go. So has this made me think differently about challenges? Not at all. No, no, I don't think it has. I think the challenges are great. I do like setting myself big targets for things or set myself large goals. And I will continue to do that. And I often hit them, but occasionally I don't. And in this case, I didn't. And so there we go. But no, I like the idea of the challenges. I think it's great. And I think to have it as a having like group challenges as well, or, you know, sort of public things like CEDA and that, I think they are good because I do feel that you get into a kind of you get a bit of a sort of team spirit with it. You know, I feel like it's been great to you know, hear and see what other people are doing for CEDA. And so even though we're all basically doing things on our own, really, aren't we? You know, on our channels and stuff like that, in terms of when it comes to actually sitting down and making the video. And, you know, it's yeah, it can be something where it's, you know, if you are just creating the content yourself and you're not in a, you know, supportive community or supportive you know, accountability group or anything like that, then yeah, definitely having other people around you who are striving for these similar things as well is I find it a real motivator. And certainly putting things out there, I always find as a motivator. That's why I talk, you know, very openly about this is what I'm aiming to do. And you know, if I don't do it, I don't just kind of like, right, let's move on then. Nothing to see here. I'm quite happy to come and just sort of share my experience and what happened and stuff like that. So so no, it hasn't made me think differently about challenges. Actually, it's just sort of reinforced the fact that that I like them and they are a motivator. I mean, like now, I've still got my 365 videos in a year target coming up. Am I confident? No, I'm not. Quite frankly, I'm not confident. I know what is coming in other areas of my life in the next 2 weeks. Am I going to be able to make, you know, 60, 70 videos in 2 weeks? I'm not sure I am, but I'm going to damn well give it a good go. Do you know what I mean? So so yeah, challenging myself to that. Whereas if people don't have any sort of goals or challenges or, you know, set themselves these targets, then there is no sort of drive to you know, to actually put anything out, is there really, at the end of the day? If you didn't sort of set a goal or a challenge to, you know, oh, I'm going to do this by this time, then it's very easy to wake up and say, what do I have to do today? Well, nothing technically in terms of moving the thing forward. So whoops. So no, that is my my view on it. I'm still quite quite in with the whole targets and challenges thing. If I've even understood your question correctly, Keely. Hey, Eileen, great to see you as well, as ever. And let's have a little look then. So yeah, that's where I am with my channel and stats. There was one thing that I was going to have a little look at because as part of CEDA, there was another thing that I was going to do, which was, he says, pressing every single foot pedal. One thing I was going to do was look at basically optimizing my channel and doing some tweaks and things like that, and doing some SEO stuff on the channel to, you know, as part of the content creation. Sorry, as part of the content optimization thing that I was doing for CEDA as well. And sorry, let me just come to Keely's question. My drive to put out. My drive to put content out is to serve my audience, so I'd feel like I'm letting people down if I didn't give them what they needed. Oh, well, of course, yeah. Yes, I totally get that point. Yeah, I mean, just but with setting these larger targets, though, there's not necessarily any need for me to put out. I was being a bit specific towards myself there. Not any need for me to necessarily put out 365 videos in a year. I could have probably got away with, putting out 100 or something like that. But yeah, that's what I meant by that. Not a case of, there's nobody to do it for or anything like that. So yeah, one of the other things that I was going to do for the CEDA, though, as I say, was to do some optimization. And one of the things I did do on one of my live streams was I did do a A/B split test for some of my videos. Now, I've done this before and I've covered it on the channel as well. And in fact, the test isn't complete. So what I thought I'd do was just have a little look, because although these tests aren't complete, they are starting to give some results. And this is why it is important to do split testing. So I basically had this sort of style of thumbnail from the beginning of my channel, and I didn't touch it for, 6 months, 8 months, something like that. This was the style of my thumbnails. This yellow on one side, dark blue on the other, and then my silly face over on that side. At some point, I decided that I was going to update my thumbnail style, still keeping it pretty much the same, but just changing some things, because I thought, well, white text on a yellow background doesn't look so great. And so I came up with this sort of slightly tweaked style, if you want to call it that, where it was basically still the same sort of thing. I tried to put a little bit, be a little bit bolder with the text, and basically similar style, but basically instead of white on yellow, it was white on blue. That is, let's face it, that is what I've done there. I also took my logo off, because there's no need to have the logo on your thumbnail when your logo is always displayed directly underneath the thumbnail in any case. So that was a bit sort of pointless and just taking up needless space. So I wanted to make it a bit more streamlined. So I did it like that. So I did this initial split test here, which ended, where was it? All of these ones that I'm showing you now are the initial split test. And what was interesting was that whilst I felt like this thumbnail here looked better than that one, because I just felt like it sort of, the text popped out more from the screen, as it were. I felt that that was a better thumbnail than that one. And yet the results of this particular test were 5.5% click-through rate on the original and only 2% on the new one. Okay, well, maybe that was just a one-off, but no, it wasn't. This one also, the original was better than this one. This one did perform better than the old one. So, in some cases, the new one was better, but it was by far, not conclusive that, oh yeah, this new look that I've got, this new look that I've got to my thumbnails is performing better. In fact, the majority, just looking down, the majority of the older ones were the ones that actually came out, the winner, if you like. So we've got 1, 2, 3 of the new ones versus about 6 of the old ones. So I did wonder if I'd changed too many things in terms of, it could be the thumbnail style itself, but it could also be these, the actual text, because I did change the text that was on the screen as well in some cases. So you should always only really change one thing at a time. So I did go back and actually rerun some of these with actually the same text. So like this one, video in waiting room on Zoom, short MV7 review. So those ones are basically exactly the same, just with these different sort of colors on the thumbnail. Now, these ones haven't finished, so these say in progress. And if you click on any one of these things, this is TubeBuddy, by the way, if you are running any of these split tests, it's going to tell you here, based on the total number of impressions and clicks, we are 48% sure that your original will perform better than the video, the variation, 58% sure. Basically, you need to let this run till that will say, like 100% or 99. It's just what it's saying there is that they haven't done it. It hasn't been shown enough. They haven't had enough impressions of it to be able to make the judgment yet. So you will just need to let those run until it's had enough impressions. But nevertheless, even though this is not complete yet, what I will note is that at the moment, all of the originals, bar one, are doing better than the new version. So it just goes to show that, like, you might have an idea, and by you I mean me. You might have an idea though of I think that looks better, and you might even show it to other people, and they might say, oh yeah, that looks much better. I think that looks great. But actually, when it comes to the the performance of it, you need to be looking at raw stats and just decide based on that. So I'm really just thinking about, well, my thumbnails need to have a little bit of attention here, because this is the sort of new style that I've been doing on all of my new videos. So if, when I compare them to my, old ones, sort of on a like-for-like basis, so a split test, I hope this is obvious, but a split test is where it is basically serving out the videos, and sometimes it will use the new thumbnail, sometimes it will use the old one, and then it's comparing to see, the sort of click-throughs and all that sort of stuff. The other thing that this shows you, by the way, which is I've found quite interesting, as well as the click-through rate in terms of how many people are seeing the thumbnail and then clicking on it. And in all of these cases, by the way, I haven't changed the title, so it is purely based on the thumbnail is going to be the differentiating factor. They also show you this watch time per impression as well, and I thought that was interesting because that's basically showing you, like, the people who click on it. Okay, have they clicked on it or not is one thing, but once they have clicked on it, which group is actually watching the video for longer, and that might give you an indication of whether the thumbnail was sort of giving them a good impression of exactly what is included in the video or going to be covered in the video. So if the one group is watching the video for noticeably longer than the other one, then there's something to be said there for either the type of people it's attracting or the whether they're getting what they thought that they were going to get as well. So that is quite interesting, and you have to actually go into the test to find that. But here you can see with this one, the original, the average watch time was 15.4 seconds. Not very long on a 20-minute video, is it? And the variation was 11.7. So that is just a sort of interesting little point that I noted there. I haven't really done any more digging into that apart from that at this moment, but. So as I say, these are basically old videos that I'm doing the split test on, but all of my new videos have got this same sort of style to them, so maybe I need to have a little bit of a rethink about my my thumbnails. One day when I grow up, I want to make thumbnails like Tom Buck. He's just got for me the best. I mean, what I should add to that is, one day when I grow up, I want to have the same artistic ability as Tom Buck, because I like to think of myself as not too bad with the old graphic design stuff, but yeah, Tom's just a total artist with his thumbnails. So I'll have to go back and leave a link to his channel in the description for anybody who is possibly watching my channel who hasn't heard of Tom Buck. I can't imagine that there is, given my audience and his audience and his reach. There's a lot of commonality in terms of the sort of stuff I cover. I can see why people would be watching him. But if you aren't aware of him, then definitely go and have a look for him, and I'll leave a link. But his thumbnails are just a work of art, really. There's something to really aspire to. I just don't have the time for that, or haven't made the time for that. So that is something that I think, I definitely need to work on going forward as well, and maybe look at creating, a completely new style. I think to do some testing on that, because there isn't much variation really here, is there, apart from changing the background. But it is amazing though how much that what a difference that has made in terms of the negative difference. But you would think that the ones with the dark background and the white text popping out would do better than white on yellow. I mean, I thought white on yellow was always a mistake, actually, with hindsight, but maybe I was wrong. Maybe I did have something after all. Hey, David, great to see you. So going forward, what do I need to do? Well, I need to really need to crack on with some videos if I'm going to get anywhere close to my my 365 videos in a year target. I don't know if I was going to bet on it. I'm not sure I'll be betting on myself here, to be honest. It's going to be a tough 2 weeks to try and get close to that. So we'll have to see. But going forward after that, though, then definitely the whole sort of batching videos is something that I'll be working on. I need to really sort of take stock and think about my my thumbnails. Maybe if I'm doing batch videos, then I can carve out some more time to actually spend a lot more time on my thumbnails, because to be honest with you, I'm pretty lazy with them in terms of the time it takes me. I mean, it was partly out of necessity, because I only had that small window every day to create the video and create the thumbnail. It's literally just a Photoshop file, and then just go and change some of the text. So and actually Rob Values I know it's Rob Valls, he asked the question about the thumbnails at one point, saying, the fact that they all do look the same, and they all look the same by virtue of the fact that I just go in and change the text. But what that means is, when people are scrolling, there isn't anything that makes them necessarily stand out from one another other than the text. So there's nothing to. It could be easier to. It could be easy to sort of miss that there was something new because the videos, the thumbnails look the same as each other. So I might have to give some serious thought to that aspect of it, because the thumbnails can make a huge difference. And just coming back to the point earlier about why haven't I got more subscribers that somebody asked earlier. Eugen asked, well, that is driven by the number of people who are watching the videos, and the number of people who are watching the videos is driven by the click-through rate, and that is driven by thumbnails and obviously titles to an extent as well. And the click-through rate, these percentages, although they might seem small, like, what's a 3% versus a 4% click-through rate? Well, people think, it's only 1%, but it isn't. It's like 33%. 4% is 33% more people have clicked than if only 3% of people click, if that makes sense. So it is quite an important thing. So definitely spending time on crafting the thumbnails is something. I actually we've going off on a bit of a tangent, but why not? Okra. I love okra, and I love okra curry as well. It's one of my favorite curries, actually, that is. I don't know if that's what you're talking about. If you're talking about what is have I just misunderstood this? Is that okra the vegetable, or are we talking about something else? I don't know what OKRA is. If it's some acronym that I am not aware of, then apologies. I'm talking about the vegetable. So that is a wrap for me. I just wanted to come in and just sort of share with you my slight failure at CEDA, and yet, I did make 70 odd videos. So, I think I've got that right. It is. So what's the channel about then? Oh, he's got it right. Okay, no problem. I'll catch you later. This is your other mysterious okra channel. Cool. Well, thanks everyone for hanging out, and yes, I shall hopefully be. I will be putting out the rest of my loop deck series. So it isn't actually over. CEDA isn't yet. We have still got the rest of, certainly for me, the rest of the day. It's only 5 a.m. here, so I've still got some time. So I will be putting out the rest of my loop deck series, and then I will also be still working to crank out those other videos by the 14th of May, my deadline for my 1 year on YouTube anniversary. Anybody watching on the replay, I will leave a link to some other videos over on the right hand side that are well worth a watch. I highly recommend them.